if I really wanted to blow him away, like I probably could have gotten 16 times, 20 times, maybe 30 times more orders if I would have done this.
You're listening to the Traffic Handler Podcast. I'm your host, Amy Biddle. We're about getting new customers, making new sales, and growing your retail business with e-commerce. My guest today is Doberman Dan. If you don't know Dan, you need to. Doberman Dan has been a serial entrepreneur and direct response copywriter for more than 30 years. He's worked in a variety of niches, but his specialty has been the health, fitness, and bodybuilding markets. Dan has started 4 of his own nutritional supplement businesses. He sold 3 of them, and he's enjoyed 2 different bouts of mini retirement. He's also been hired by a $1 billion a year direct response marketing company to help them start a brand new supplement division. Dan's been publishing the Doberman Dan letter since 2011. Many of the most successful marketers in the world are his subscribers. Dan has written hundreds of successful ads, direct mail packages, websites, email marketing campaigns, feature articles, and newsletters. So I'm just going to cut right to the interview. Hope you enjoy it as much as I did.
Yeah, my friend was saying that, so he works with a lot of clients in all kinds of different spaces, consumer, business to business, everything. So, but the one consistent thing he was seeing on Facebook was, like we're saying, first of all, difficult to get something going. Once you get it going, difficult to keep it going. And then the big frustration is a lot of them who do, as far as they know, nothing wrong, get their accounts, wind up getting their accounts canceled.
Yes.
For running ads that were approved and everything was fine, according to Facebook. Mm-hmm. And so he's not been, he steers people there, can make it work, but he's been more focused on YouTube. And he was just saying the same things that you were. He also said he found, the short, the shorter videos. Now I'm forgetting the name of it. The videos that appear, the placements, you place your video ad on other videos, mm-hmm. whatever those placements are called, a relatively short video that offers access to a video, which makes sense because they're video people on YouTube, or like a series of videos, 1, 2, 3, 4. Space out every day. 1, 2, 3 are content. 4 is the offer.
Yep.
Has been successful. And he's also seen cheat sheets, offering cheat sheets in your video ad, been very successful. And so he said, it appears to be that the quality of the prospects or customers is better than Facebook when comparing lifetime customer values from Facebook acquired people to YouTube acquired people. And now here's the thing that really piqued my interest and then also made me feel discouraged at the same time. Because I'm interested in this platform for my own publishing business, right?
Yes.
So he said, one thing he's seen is doing video placements or doing keywords versus just letting Google's AI figure it out. It's been much easier to scale when you let Google's AI figure it out versus, selecting videos for your placements and keyword stuff. So that's exciting. And he said that has converted better and they found more traffic. And that was the exciting part. The discouraging part for me was it could take several months of letting Google's AI figure it out, which means you're burning through cash at that time.
You're burning through cash, right?
I only played around with YouTube ads very briefly, and it's been a while ago. And finding videos for placement was a challenge. If you did it manually, it was a big challenge. But there were tools, you pay a monthly fee for, and they would find monetized videos according to certain keywords. Well, now, and I read this not too long ago, my friend confirmed it. Now, apparently YouTube has just monetized all videos. Previously, you had to select whether you wanted ads to appear on videos you were posting on YouTube. Now it's just they monetized them all.
Yeah, yeah. And that was sometime last year they made that switch so that, you really weren't in control about the ads that showed up. Which is good if you're a marketer. And, if you're using YouTube as, revenue stream, that's good. The way you're able to target your competitors, that would be, bad if you were posting organically, like publishing organically on YouTube. And then
no doubt.
Having your competitors show up. But, now we're down to the basics of business. Who has the better list and who has the better offer?
That's exactly right.
Always down to the offer. Lists and offers, man. Robert Collier hit it over 100 years ago, and that's determined our lives ever since then as marketers.
Ever since then, unless you're lucky enough for a brief period of time to get in on some new channel,
right?
When it's just, like back in the day, I'm so old. I've even used Overture pay-per-click ads. I doubt anybody will even remember those.
I remember Overture. I was around that. Yeah.
They were acquired by Yahoo, I think, after that, right?
Yeah, I think they were. There might have been a step in between that, but they were early birds.
That was like shooting fish in a barrel. And the same thing I got on Google AdWords when it was brand new too, back when it was still called AdWords. That was like shooting fish in a barrel. Mm-hmm. It was like put up the simplest half-baked ad.
It's like building a tweet. You'd build a tweet and then you put it out there. I remember that.
Yeah. And paying whatever it was to getting 2-cent, 3-cent clicks.
Yeah.
It was like, it's especially like I was in the bodybuilding market back then. And, you would just identify something that's a hot seller at that time. Yeah. And back then, these supplements called pro hormones, they were the hot seller. You literally, I put up, the headline was like, whatever the name of that product, Norandrostenedione 19. That was the headline.
Awesome.
And what I don't even remember what the rest of the copy was like. We got it here. Click here. I was like the worst possible ad you could think of from a copywriting purpose.
Yeah.
But it was such a brand new medium, brand new channel, and clicks were so cheap. Like it was lit.
That actually is not a bad headline. That's like an Ogilvy headline. That's like, all right, we're going to take all the sex appeal out of the headline. We're going to just say the product name, because anybody who's in the buying phase of the awareness, cycle, they're going to be looking for that particular product. And, boom, you got them, because Google could make that match. They could do it even better now, but they were doing it even then, 20 years
back
ago.
then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it was, as Gary Halbert used to call it, it was a lay down. They were already looking for it because it was the hottest thing in the market.
Yes.
I was just lucky enough to be one of the few who got in on that channel early. So I don't recall. I wouldn't say that I had no competition. Maybe I did. It was very little competition.
Yeah.
And, you could outbid people too. Like, oh, geez, now I'm going to up my bid. So now I'm paying a whole 5 cents a click.
Ooh.
Now I'm in position number 1.
That's great.
Those days are gone from the big channels, but I don't know, maybe those opportunities are still available on stuff like TikTok and, all the other new ones that are escaping my mind.
Even older demographics. I think that's the politically correct way of saying that. The older demographics, like us.
I call them geezers, but
there you go. The geezers. There are geezers on Snapchat too, and TikTok.
No, well, yeah, the older demographic. When I called them geezers, I was much younger, and it was much funnier then. Yeah. Now that I'm approaching that demographic, it's not so funny.
Now it just hurts in the morning.
Yeah, it just hurts in the morning. But yeah, it's not like, even 10 years ago, I think that demographic was just, I'm stereotyping and generalizing, but they were not that savvy with some of the newer media,
Right.
and even smartphones to an extent, not so much. I mean, these days, yeah. I mean, if they all have a smartphone. They're on everything. They're on
And the
Facebook.
other thing that the older demographics have done with search, they changed the nature of search intent by speaking into their phones. Everybody over the age of like 55, 58, they do a search, they hold up their phone and they say, "Hey Google," or whatever the thing is, "Hey Siri." Oh, don't answer me.
Yeah.
Find me, I don't know, salami at a local deli. It's all search. And so what that's done as far as Google goes is it's lengthened, because you're not going to type it in the same way you say it. Remember back in the day, we were looking for a handful of keywords, and then it was keyword phrases, and now it's like whole sentences that nobody would ever type in. But that voice modeled search changed everything as far as search intent goes and really opened it up.
That makes perfect sense because I've observed that going on. I even saw one guy the other day using Siri to turn on his flashlight on his
Yes,
iPhone.
right.
They use that, the verbal search all the time. But I never considered how that affects global search.
Yeah, it does. And so your the blog on your website, you've got over 400 entries, I think, blog posts. So that means that those longer searches, Google is getting better at reading those. And so you don't have to worry about, well, I put keywords in here, here, and here, 3 at the top, 2 in the middle, 3 at the bottom. Like we used to have to do that hourglass thing with keywords. We don't worry about that so much anymore. And, it's like, it's really, it's good that it's like that, because then Google's reading what we're writing for people. And I want to move into this direction. You are the king of writing for people, because, a big part of who you are and what you do has been in print. People first. That's absolutely people first.
Yeah, it was, well, because when I started, really that was the only option available to what I call a kitchen table entrepreneur or a bootstrap entrepreneur, somebody trying to get something going with very little resources or no resources.
Or no resources, right.
The only resource is this thing in your cranium.
Right. Ballast between your ears.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
So, that's how I had to start. I wanted a mail order business, and, I forget radio and TV. It really wasn't an option for a little bootstrap entrepreneur. So the only thing I had available were print ads in newspapers and magazines. Newspapers, if it was a mass market thing, which I did not start out in business selling mass market stuff. In magazines, if it was more of a niche thing. My first mail order business was in the bodybuilding niche. So, back then there were plenty of mags, at least 5, maybe 7 bodybuilding magazines. So, small fractional page ads, because there's no way I could have afforded a full page ad. Which, the only thing you could do is like drive to the phone back then, call for a free report, or, use the call to action of sending a letter to request stuff to an address.
Yeah.
It dates me so much, and then following up with the sales letter. So, that's how I started. That's what I got good at. I did start online and, with that particular business also in the bodybuilding niche, which was an info business that later included supplements too. Yeah. But I did start online either in late 96 or early 97. I don't recall which. And nobody knew what they were doing back then online. I just applied what I learned with print ads and direct mail and applied it online and email marketing, and it worked. So, but yeah, I mean, still to this day, except for a short period of time, I never really abandoned print, especially when it came to back end marketing, which is selling stuff to your existing customers. I never really abandoned print because it still works.
Yeah. Yeah. Mailing stuff to people just works. Most of the people who I work with are in e-commerce. Find their people, they sell them something, and then they have their address. I would love to see them, mailing something that somebody didn't pay for, like a postcard, or, it doesn't have to be the expense of a catalog, but holy cow, talk about easy retargeting.
Oh my gosh. I'm looking to see if I still have it. Amazon sent me a piece. Here, the biggest online retailer in the world is using direct mail. They sent me a piece. And at Christmas time, they send out catalogs.
Yeah, and it's gorgeous. It's thick paper, matte finish. I love that thing.
A lot of online businesses are using mail. More and more are using mail. I just read a report that a friend of mine sent me who manages direct mail campaigns for companies. And I'm gonna probably forget the facts, but like a lot of online businesses, what it says, Amazon is not the only one. Research by the Direct Marketing Association shows that 44.4% of merchandisers increased their catalog circulation. So a lot of online businesses have been using direct mail or are starting to use it more and more. Catalogs, postcards, single mailings for single products, stuff like that. I mean, it definitely bears testing. I mean, you've done the hardest part, which is getting the customer in the first place, right?
First sale. Holy cow, that's expensive and it's hard. It's getting harder
than I've ever seen it. And I've been doing this stuff for a long time, so you've already jumped a really big hurdle, and if all you did was communicate with them, got your order, thank you, send them that email,
right?
Hey, your order is shipped or it's shipping out this day, and you sent the order and sent them what they ordered. You've already, that's a big hurdle. You've done what you said you're going to do, and you delivered what you said you were going to deliver. Yeah. Now you got a pretty special relationship with that person. And if you've gone a step above that and used some really cool relationship building, us copywriters call it copy, in your email, this emotionally intimate, emotional generating kind of copy in your emails. And, you send a really nice from the heart thank you letter with the product you ship. I mean, you've jumped a huge hurdle, and now you've got a relationship with that person. They know who you are. That is a big hurdle these days.
Yeah.
They trust you because you did what you said you were going to promise. So now, to capitalize on that trust, mail seems like a very good next step, at the very least, to test it, right?
Absolutely. I mean, if you know that your lifetime value of a customer is a certain price point, let's say you're selling something, let's say your average order value is around $90 for whatever that is. But over time, that your customer is going to come back and buy 2 more times in the span of 2 years. First of all, why is it that long? And second of all, you could do tests with just postcards. It doesn't even have to be a full catalog, especially because you mentioned this just now, the single item, push of a product. What's your best selling thing? If they bought one, will they buy a second one? Will they do it in 21 days versus 21 months? I'll bet they will. And staying in front of them with postcards is The cost of a stamp plus the printing of the postcard and the mailing, I don't think that's above $1.75 now.
Yeah. And, the thing about it is we all love email marketing. I mean, it can't get more convenient and or immediate than email
Right.
marketing.
Yes.
In fact, I say maybe I shouldn't project my issues upon other people. So let me say me, myself, and I have become too dependent on it or like it too much for those reasons. Like, oh, I got a brain fart of an idea. Let's see if I can sell this, bang out an email, shoot it out. Something sent in the mail requires a bit more forethought and planning and a tad bit more savvy than that. But we all love email marketing.
Yeah.
But I know I'm probably preaching to the choir on this. There are tons of issues with emails. The number one being getting the darn thing delivered.
Oh, yes.
And
deliverability
then opened and like, oh my goodness. So you really, the very least you should be testing some form of mail sent in hard copy via the postal service to your customer list, because emails they're not getting delivered like they used to, and they're not getting opened like they used to. And it's getting worse and worse, it appears. So if you're just dependent upon that channel as a communication method with your customers, especially your customers, you are leaving a lot of money on the table. I've done test after test after test that has proven that.
Yeah.
Like, can I tell about a brief one?
Oh yeah. I'm all ears.
So a guy in my space, or who was in my space at the time, was Dr. Glenn Livingston, a psychologist. So I sell marketing info / business improvement info to business owners. And he was doing the same thing. So I won't be exactly right on the numbers, but I'm really close. So this is just for example purposes. I think he had like 25,000 people on his email list. And that's all he ever did, just email his people. And I said, Glenn, let's do a test. Because I kept telling him, man, you should at the very least test some direct mail.
Yes.
And he was, well, I don't know, because I don't know how to do it. And I'm like, man, it really is as simple as sending an email. It is simple as that. You're not stuffing envelopes. Because I don't know. I go, okay, so I'll do the test. Let's do this. We pitched my newsletter to his list of 25,000 people by email. And I think he sent either 5 emails or 7 emails. So whatever it was, 5 days in a row, 7 days in a row, a different email went out offering the Doberman Dan. Well, was it the Marketing Camelot back then? I guess back then it was the newsletter that had an online membership component too. So 7, whatever it was, like I said, 5 days of different emails or 7 days of different emails to his entire list, 25,000.
Yeah.
And so I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a random sample of 1,000 people. And that's key, because a random sample is like, I'm going to take every nth name off of your list.
Yep.
Until I get to 1,000. So whatever that's going to be out of a list of 25 names, I guess. Like every 25th name until I get to 1,000. And then I'm going to mail them the exact same thing we sent them an email, but I'm going to send it in a sales letter, right?
Yes.
So 1,000 direct mail pieces versus whatever it was, 7 days of emails sent to a list of 25,000. My 1,000 piece direct mail pulled in 8 times more orders than mailing his 25,000 person email list 7 different times.
I love that. Now,
if I really wanted to blow him away, that was an nth name select. If I really wanted to blow him away, like I probably could have gotten 16 times, 20 times, maybe 30 times more orders if I would have done this. Take the most recent buyers off of his list.
Yep.
The ones who buy most frequently, so who are multi-buyers, who bought 2 or more times, and the ones who bought his highest priced stuff. So I said, okay, so Glenn, give me the people who've bought the most recently, bought more than 2 products, and have bought your most expensive stuff. Now that list would be like the most super responsive list in direct mail.
Yes, exactly.
But I didn't do that. I could have gotten way higher conversions with that. But just to prove a point to how much money been leaving on the table, I only did the nth name select.
That's phenomenal. I love that. And do you know how few people do that? I am on so many lists. I'm on so many lists. And only one time, and it was 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago now, somebody mailed me a letter. It was just a letter. There were no graphics. There was nothing fancy. It was a number 10 envelope with a return address and I think it was a 2-page letter on the inside. It might have been shorter than that. And it was the exact duplicate of an email, because I've recognized it, that I had just gotten, in the last week or so. And it was the exact same thing, but it was just a very simple printed letter type, no graphics, nothing fancy. And nobody's doing that.
Nobody. And I try to talk people into doing it, but so I have to be totally transparent. A long time ago, this young pastor of a church I was going to back then said, pay a lot of attention to what the preacher's talking about. Because if he's preaching on something every week, preaching against the evils of fill in the blanks, alcohol, he's a drunk. He's preaching about the evils of adultery, he's cheating on his wife.
Yep.
So if I'm going to criticize, judge, or condemn anybody for not doing this, I need to leave and go into the bathroom behind my office and look in the mirror, because I've got a great list. I mean, you're a knight in my marketing.
I'm on your list. Absolutely. I've mailed you my wallet. I don't know how much of my money you got.
See, you're the perfect example. I should be doing more direct mail to that list. Those are my most responsive people. I'm saying this publicly now. I'm going to be doing more of that.
I am too. Absolutely. Because we're sitting here having this conversation about how the bottom has fallen out of email. It's hard to get deliverability. Can't count on it. And postal mail is the thing. Well, got to get me some number 10 envelopes.
Yep.
Because the projects that I have done that were either, the one that I was really successful with was I bought a list, mailed out a letter, and it was a bad letter. It was ugly, bad grammar, really short, but that didn't matter because I had a good list.
It just doesn't matter.
Bought something for $50 and turned around and sold for $2,500.
Holy smokes.
I know.
That's a pretty decent markup.
It's the power of a good list and a good offer, right?
Huh. I'm just saying, test it. I mean, you don't have to start out dumping 50,000 envelopes at the USPS. I mean, I regularly did small mail, and my wife and I, at one point when I was really struggling and living in this tiny 1-bedroom apartment in Miami with nothing but a kitchen table, we hand addressed number 10s and stuffed envelopes. But I don't want to scare anybody off thinking they have to do that. I mean, to send direct mail, it is literally as easy as send an email. There are what I call letter shops. There are service providers that do this. All you do is you send them what you want to send in the mail. You send a PDF of that to them, with I want this, whatever, print on white paper, black ink. I want the signature in blue, or I want the headline in red, whatever, and you send them the PDF, tell them I want this to go in a number 10, or if it's a postcard, I want this size postcard. Send them the PDF. They print it for you. They stuff it in an envelope. They put the postage on it. They do it all for you. It really is simple. And in fact, at the post office's site at USPS.com, I forget what the link says, but there's a link to providers that write on the USPS's site. You can upload the list as a CSV file in your PDF, and they'll mail a variety of sizes, postcards, letters, stuff like that.
That's on USPS?
Yeah, on in small quantities too. Don't think like, oh gosh, I gotta send 10,000 much. Nah, send 10. If you do a small test. I mean, if you really want to put all the odds in your favor, do that recency, frequency, monetary. Select the most recent buyers who are multi-buyers,
yes,
who have bought your highest price point stuff. And if that's a list of 50 people, no biggie, mail those 50 a special offer.
Yeah.
In the mail.
That's it.
I say in the snail mail, right?
Yeah, snail mail.
I know they've closed in the past couple of years, they closed several regional postal processing things. And prior to that, first class mail was getting almost sent from within the US. It was getting almost everywhere in the US in 5 days maximum, sometimes only 3.
Yeah.
But when they closed several of the regional processing plants, it's slowed it down a little bit. But still, I mean, it's still, you get a high delivery rate with first class mail.
Yeah.
Much more so than we're getting with email.
Well, that's true. And in fact, couple of members of your organization, your membership, are doing crazy things with envelopes and inserts and all kinds of things to make sure that the deliverability and open rate actually go up.
If you want me to show, I won't show it in detail. I got one right here. Just give an example.
Go.
So it's handwritten, big old font, little stars on it, sticker, has this little sticker on the back.
Yeah.
It's just to get attention, right? And
it does get attention. Absolutely. And for those who are on the podcast version and not the video version, Dan just held up a hand decorated envelope.
Oh yeah, I forgot those.
No, we're on both.
Granted, so this isn't going out to thousands of people. This was a direct mail piece sent to one person. So he hand wrote a card. There's little illustrations on the back for those who are seeing the video. He included these fake $1 million bills that have a Doberman in the center where the dead president is supposed to be. Creative ways to make sure you get 100% deliverability and opens, but stuff like that can be duplicated even if you are sending hundreds or thousands of pieces. You can stick a little, whatever they cost, like 75-cent a fabric worry doll, these little dolls. The letter shop can stick those on the first page. Your letter can say, as you can see, I've attached this, whatever it is, Argentinian worry doll to the letter. Why have I done that? Why have I done that? Well, the answer is quite simple. I'm worried about you. Mm-hmm. You see, you are a valued customer of mine, but I haven't heard from you in whatever it was, weeks, months, and I'm worried. And so I want to make you this special offer,
Yeah, exactly.
Even if you just send a simple letter.
Yeah.
To customers who've bought from you, making a special offer, with just copy that connects with them in a way like, hey, I really appreciate your business. You're extremely important to my business and I value you. And, that's why I'm sending you this letter with this special offer just for you, because you're one of my VIP customers. Even if it's that simple, even without all the fancy grabbers and all that other stuff. It still works. Yeah. The one mistake I don't want someone to make is to just go out and blanket mail their entire list, because that's most likely way to lose a lot of money. Yeah. Because maybe there's people on your list who haven't bought from you in 3 years, or maybe they bought 3 years ago and they bought a $5 item, right?
Yeah.
And you've never heard from again. Those are people that you probably don't want to mail. But if you're mailing, your most recent customers, the people who buy more frequently, the multi-buyers, the people who buy the more expensive stuff, that's as close to a lay down as it was called by one of my mentors
Yeah.
as you can get. And it doesn't matter if it's a small list. And you'll find that, if you even do some more segmenting, maybe you'll find there's a smaller segment that you can send direct mail to even more than once a month. When I had my supplement business, it was like once a month, a direct mail piece was going to go out to a segment of the list. And it was usually like the most recent buyers was the bigger segment, right? So something monthly will go out to them in direct mail, even though those people were acquired from online marketing. They still got something in direct mail because it pulled really well, pulled much better than email.
Right.
As far as conversions go, conversions to sales. So that was the bigger segment that got something. Then there'd be the smaller segment, the whales, as I call them, using a Vegas term, right? The people who bought more frequently and bought the higher price stuff, I could send them direct mail more frequently.
Yes, because you knew the outcome was going to be so profitable. You could send more frequently because they were bigger spenders. The outcome paid for the work.
Absolutely. And I was also emailing that list at least once a day, occasionally 2 times or more when there was a special promotion going on.
Yeah.
So, I never abandoned email. I just viewed it as email is going to get, a certain segment of buyers. The direct mail stuff picks up money that I'm not getting from email. So, I just used it all.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Dan, I think we've been here longer than the time that I asked you for. Thank you so much. This is brilliant.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, time went by really fast.
I know, right? We always have fun talking. So I think if listeners will do just a little bit of what you said about mailing, they will see the immediate benefit and get the results, which turns into money in the bank, really.
I always viewed it as found money, right? It's money with the other channels is not picking up for you. So this is just some extra found money for you.
That's great. That's great. Well, I think you just found us a fortune. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for the invitation.
What's the website that people go to find you?
The main hub to find me is my website at dobermandan.com.
Beautiful.
Ton of articles up there. And you might want to observe something there, at least in my particular vertical, which is, whatever you want to call it, selling marketing info to online marketers. I'm taking a different approach. When somebody comes to my website, they're offered to opt in, but I'm not offering to give anything away free.
Right.
I'm just offering, an online report. I do wind, I break my own rule and I do wind up giving something away free. But it's not announced on the website. Ooh. So, and I'm not going to say that that's the best approach for all online business. Just in my particular niche in my business, like offering something free right up front attracts a lot of people that I don't want on my list.
Yes.
So I'm specifically saying, like, I'm not going to give you anything free. I'll give you access to an online report, which, see, it's big. The big reveal here, the secret revealed is you're redirected to an offer for one of my books, right? So what I'm trying to do with that process is find the buyers immediately, as opposed to the people who just want something free. So I'm not offering anything free. I am giving away something free, though, once I get on the list, which I think is a very valuable report, giving a lot more details of what we talked about today, Amy. But so, yeah, I think maybe people will hopefully learn a few things by observing my process and, reading some of the free posts that are on there too.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, every time I read your stuff and I get your newsletter, and on the first day it comes, it's sitting there on the dining room table, or I go pull it out of the mailbox, I sit down with that thing immediately. I look to you. I read your blog, listen to your podcast. I mean, all that stuff. So
Oh, thank you.
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, that's the power of sending something in print too, right? Like you look
It
forward
is.
to it, you have something in your hand, and it's the medium.
It is. It is. It's captivating because who else is using mail? Hardly anyone.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, let's wrap it up so you can have your day back. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amy. I appreciate the invite.
You've been listening to the Traffic Handler Podcast, getting new customers, making new sales, and growing your retail business with e-commerce. I'm your host, Amy Biddle. Get more at amybiddle.me. Until next time, go sell more stuff.